Welcome to this video. Really excited for this one. I'm going to be sharing how we helped one of our e-commerce clients generate $661,000 in revenue over the past 30 days on Shopify. I'm going to be sharing the full creative and ads strategy, sharing how we find winning ad creatives and how we test and scale those creatives within Meta ads. All right. So without further ado, let's dive into the video. And then just a quick refresh on the Shopify dashboard for you guys to show you that in the past 30 days, we did indeed generate 661K in revenue. All right, so let's start by talking about how we can make winning ad creatives, right? And over the years, working with tons and tons of e-commerce brands, spending over $11 million on ads, we have come up with this framework we call the AFE Framework, okay? The A stands for angle, and this is really the first part of the framework. The angle is the core pillar of your creative or the overarching theme of the creative, right? So when we're talking about building out ad creatives themselves, every creative starts with an angle, right? And this is the foundation for any creative idea that you then build. The angles you choose must come from your research though. And the research is key to finding those winning ad creatives consistently, right? We're talking about being able to do this consistently, not one time, not randomly. It's like, how can we do it on a consistent basis? And the way that we find these angles through research is that we look at Reddit, we look at forums, customer reviews, surveys, and TikTok, right? We're looking at all these different sources to find what are people talking about, what words are they using, what problems are they facing, and maybe what have they tried in the past that is a failed solution. We're using all this data to build these custom avatars, which we can then use to find angles, okay? So when you're coming up with your angles from the research, you want to start with the pain points and problems that were the most prominent from that research. So the ones that are coming up the most, you want to start there. Then you want to think of what separates your solution or product from your competitors, right? How is it different than what your customer avatar has tried before? This is also another great way that you can come up with new ideas for angles, right? And then final point here is that angles can be different for different customer avatars. Maybe you're selling a skincare product, right? And that customer avatar is women 55 plus who are struggling with anti-aging, right? And the angle that you use for that audience is going to be very different to the angle that you use for maybe 25-year-old to 30-year-old women who has different concerns, right? And your product may benefit both those people, right? It may have an active ingredient that benefits both those avatars, but the angle for those avatars is going to be different. So to begin with, you identify the top 3 angles that you find from your research, and then you use those as a starting point. Now, the F in the framework stands for framework. To make winning ad creatives, you must apply some kind of structure to them. And if we just throw some ideas together, that's not going to lead to consistent winning ad creatives, all right? So what frameworks should you use? We have 8 core frameworks that we like to use based off of direct response principles and consumer psychology. In this video, I'm going to share the top 3 that we use. First one, problem, agitate, solution. So this starts with a hook, right? The hook is really important to getting people to stop scrolling and watch your video. We go straight with the problem. Right, so we speak in their language based on what we found in the research. We hit them with a problem. Then we agitate that problem by going deeper into it, right? Maybe that problem leads to another problem further down the road, and we want to then link those together. We want to agitate the problem. Then in the video, the creator is going to talk about discovery, how they actually found the product, and the solution to their problem. And then we talk about the product intro, so we introduce the product into the video. Features, benefits, unique mechanism, what makes this product and this solution different to any other alternatives out there on the market. Then we add in some authority, and finally we give an offer and a CTA, okay? The second type of framework that I want to share with you is how I X without Y. So an example of this is how I fixed my inconsistent golf swing without paying for expensive coaching lessons. So it's fixing the problem without a lot of sacrifice or without having to spend a lot of money, without having to spend a lot of time. Right, we are giving them the solution and taking away the pain in terms of getting that solution, right? So we start with the hook, right? The hook is this sentence right here. So if we were using this one as an example, this would be the hook, right? Then we want to kind of take them back to the problem. So we are meeting them where they're at with the problem. We're talking in terms of the language that they're using to describe their problem. And then what that is doing is it's bringing down the barriers for them in this video, right? Agitate the problem. And then we talk about the failed solution, right? So I used to spend, hundreds of dollars a month on expensive coaching lessons, but it would just never work for me, right? Product intro. Then I came across this product intro, right? Talk a little about the discovery. talk about the unique mechanism of that product, right? What makes that product different and why does it work? The features and benefits, and then the end result, right? Now I'm playing golf more consistently. I'm enjoying my rounds. When I go and play 18 holes, I enjoy it rather than just hating every minute of it, right? Something like that. And then we go offer and CTA. Okay. The third framework is stop, and then you have a conventional or acceptive activity or solution. Now, an example of this could be stop using salt to season your food, right? You want to go against the norm and grain here, and maybe it's not 100% true, right? But you want to create some polarization that's going to stop the scroll and get people to say, wait, what's going on here, right? So that in itself is the hook. Then we want to bring them back to the problem. Again, we want to talk about where that viewer is currently at, right? We're meeting them where they're at. We talk about problem education, right? Because this is for the less aware audiences, and we might want to educate them further on the problem that they're facing, and then trying to break those beliefs that they have. Then we want to go into discovery, right? How we actually came across this solution. We introduce the product, unique mechanism, features, benefits, end result. We add in some authority or social proof because this is usually for a less aware audience, so they need more education and convincing. And then finally an offer and CTA. Okay, so those would be the three frameworks that I would use. So I would take your angles and I would apply them into these frameworks, right? You write out a rough framework and outline of a script using these frameworks, okay? So then comes the creator. We need to turn the idea and the framework into actual content and footage we can use in our ad. We're going to be focusing on content creators for this. So step one, find someone to record videos for you. This can be you, a friend, a family member, if they're good in front of camera, right? You can do this pretty cost effectively. We work with content creators, and to find content creators, you can go to backstage.com. It has been the most successful platform for finding winning creators for us, right? So you go to backstage.com, you sign up, and it is free to use. Posting a job, sometimes you have to pay for that. However, you will get applicants, you get high quality applicants within 24 to 48 hours of posting your job, okay? So you want to hire someone with UGC video examples in their portfolio if you're using backstage.com, right, or a similar platform. They need to have examples. We need to see that they are good at what they do. They must have an understanding of getting and holding attention, right? So you should see this in the examples. They should have good lighting, a good mix of A-roll and B-roll. And you want to pay maximum $150 per video. This is what we find is a good rate for high quality content, and we can establish a relationship with that content creator for a long time. Step two is you want to give your content creators clear, detailed briefs of the instructions you want them to follow. The brief should include the framework you want them to follow with some ideas for what to say. You don't want to make it fully scripted, otherwise the video content, what's going to happen is going to come back very robotic. So you want the creator to put their own style on it and make it sound natural, but follow a framework so the video still has structure. You're finding the happy medium with this, right? You're not going too rigid, you're not going too unstructured. You want to fall somewhere in the middle. What we do is we ask them to record each scene as an individual clip. And then we also ask them for B-roll. B-roll is footage of them using the product, them experiencing the problem we're talking about, unboxing the product, etc. And this will come in handy during editing, which is next, all right? So the final part is when you edit the video. So once you've received your content back and have approved it, now it's time to edit it into a video. So how do you actually edit winning video ad creatives? It all starts with a strong hook. This is the most important part. The words of the hook may come from your script, but you want to use a visual that stops the scroll and is still related to the video and what the creator is talking about, okay? You want to change the scene every 2 to 4 seconds. Faster changes for younger audiences, slower changes for older audiences, right? And this is just, you're keeping whatever they're looking at, whatever they're viewing, you're keeping it fresh, right? You're changing it often. Then you want to use native style captions that look organic to the platform you're running the ad on. Then you want to use a mix of A-roll and B-roll throughout the video. We use like a 50-50, roughly around that range. 50% A-roll, 50% B-roll tends to be a good balance. And then always have a CTA, call to action at the end. Your framework is going to include a CTA, but you can overlay some sort of button. You just always want to make sure to include something, right? You want to tell your viewer what to do next. Visit their website at xyz.com to see if they still have them in stock, right? This is just an example. So that is the framework, right, for creating and finding winning ad creatives, okay? So just to recap, AFCE, we have the angle, we have the framework, we have the creator, and then we have the edits. Now, how do we actually test and scale these ad creatives on Meta? So you have your ad creatives already edited, ready to go. how do you actually test these on the ad platforms? Well, it all starts with the ad account structure. So the way that we structure it for our clients, the campaign type, we use CBO, we have the sales objective with purchase optimization event. In the ad set level, we split the ad sets by creative concept, right? We use our audience broad, male, female, 18 plus. We only narrow down by country. The exception to this is when the pixel is new, and that is when we test interest-based targeting as well. For the ads, we have maximum 5 ads per ad set. We usually do 3 ads per ad set. 5 is on the higher side, right? So around 3, 4 is a good amount. Each ad inside the ad set is a variation of the same concept and same format. We don't combine images and videos. We don't combine different concepts together. Another point is with our ad setup is sometimes we go straight to whitelisting ads, right? Because especially at the time of recording this, whitelisting is something that is working really, really well for us. So if it's working really well for our account, then we will go straight to doing whitelisting if it's with the creator that we're working with, rather than running them through a page, okay? Now, the testing process, you want to let each ad set spend 2 to 3x your target CPA before making any decisions. Second thing, once that's happened, you want to turn off underperforming ads inside ad sets before turning off the whole ad set, right? And third, you want to add new ad sets into the campaign. If you have more budget to spend, you can increase the budget on the campaign to direct more spend towards the ad sets. Otherwise, you can rotate in new ad sets as old ones get turned off, okay? And that just means that your ad spend is not being diluted too heavily across a lot of different ad sets, okay? So how do you actually analyze creatives? There are certain metrics that you need to look at. The most important is your CPA or your ROAS. Is it on target, right? This is always going to be the most important metric. But there are also other metrics that you want to look at to determine ad creative performance. The next one is to look at your outbound CTR. This is a measure of the percentage of viewers clicking on your ad to visit your website or your landing page, okay? And the benchmark for CTR, around 1% outbound CTR is good, but you want to benchmark it against what is currently in your ad account, right? Because a good benchmark, you might have some creatives that are performing really well and they have like a 1.5% outbound CTR. Now that can be the average benchmark for a winning creative in your account. So there is some variation. You do have to look at what you currently have in your ad account and base it off that. Then you want to look at creative specific metrics. What I mean by this is we have these custom metrics that you can build in the ads manager. The first one is hook rate. This is a determination of how good your video is at stopping the scroll and hooking viewers in. You want to aim for 30% with this one, right? Hold rate is a determination of how good your video is at retaining viewers after you've hooked them in. And you want to aim for 10% hold rate on this metric, okay? So these are more like the softer metrics. They don't tell the full story, but they're useful for understanding why a creative works or doesn't work, right? And if a creative does not work, understand why, right? Maybe your hook rate is poor and you're not getting enough people to watch. Change the hook and test again. Maybe your hook rate is strong, but hold rate is poor and you can't retain viewers. You want to look at the structure of your video and make sure scenes are changing every 2 to 4 seconds. If your CTR is poor, maybe the message is not hitting with the audience, there's not enough direct response principles using the creative, or maybe there's a lack of credibility of social proof, or the CTA itself is weak, okay? And if your in-platform metrics are strong, but your ROAS or CPA is still off target, it may be an issue with the conversion rate or the AOV on your website or landing page. So at that point, you want to look more holistically, okay? So now we get to the stage of iteration. Based on your data, you can now create iterations of the ad creatives to get closer to finding winners. Our goal is to use the data to improve the ad creative and our message, rather than just discarding the creative if it doesn't perform well, right? So what we're doing is, even if a creative is not performing well, we're using those metrics, the hook rate, the hold rate, to determine why it didn't work, right? And then we are creating variations, iterations of that creative with those improvements applied, okay? And think of this as a feedback loop to increase your win ratio. What this means is that the win ratio is how many creatives do you need to test to find one true winner that you can scale. And if you test the same angle with multiple creative frameworks, different hooks, etc., and it still doesn't work, it may be best to test a different angle altogether, right? So it may just be the case that the angle itself just does not work, right? And you got to change it up. So now let's talk about how do we actually scale winners. So you find a winning ad creative that's performing well. How do you actually increase the budget to get more out of that winning ad creative? There are a few ways to do this. The first one is you launch the winning ad creatives in a new ASC, an Advantage Plus shopping campaign with higher budget. The second way is you continue increasing budget on the original CBO testing campaign, and you want to increase by maximum 50% every 48 hours. Meta should then direct most of the spend towards the winners. And the third method of scaling is you can launch winning creatives in a new CBO or Advantage Plus shopping campaign, but to a new landing page or as whitelisting ads. So you're changing one of the variables. You're changing the page that it's served with, right, with whitelisting. You're changing the landing page, right, the destination, to try and create a different funnel that works. So that is just another way that you can do that, okay? So that is it for how to actually test and scale the ad creatives on Meta and how to find those winners. So that is all for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment down below and tell me what you want to see next, right? Do you want me to go deeper into the ad creative stuff? Do you want me to go deeper into the media buying stuff? Do you want to see more landing pages, conversion rate side of things? Let me know and I will do my best to create a video around that topic, all right? Thank you guys and I will see you in the next one.